Hey everybody, today we're covering a topic that I know a lot of you need to hear. A lot of you might not want to hear this, but a lot of you need to hear this, and that's the fact that you need to stop stretching before you go out for your runs. And I know a lot of you think that, okay, well, stretching is part of my warm-up routine. It's what I do. I can tell you right now, you're doing yourself a huge disservice by going through static stretching exercises before you go out for a run. It's been known for a long time now, and studies have proven it over and over, that when you actually go in there and do a static stretch, you've seen a lot of people do this. They go through their exercises, they reach for their toes, they grab their foot, they stretch their quad. These static stretching exercises are gonna do almost nothing for you other than decrease your ability to produce force and decrease stability in the joints that you're gonna be using on your run. So ask yourself, why do you wanna do that? You don't. Okay, so today we're gonna actually kind of cover the topic of how to properly warm up, how to engage the muscles and the structures that actually need to be addressed, and get you out there feeling strong, producing as much force and stability as is possible instead of decreasing it. And I know we've covered a lot about injury recovery in the past. Today I'm trying to get out ahead of it. For those of you that are feeling healthy and feeling well, you're not having the knee problems, the ankle problems, the IT band problems. This is just going to help you even further. It's going to provide an insurance policy for you so that you can continue to run safely and effectively and efficiently, and you're going to get out ahead of these injuries before they ever happen. So what we're gonna do, we're just gonna use two simple pieces of equipment, a jump rope and a mini band. And I know what you're thinking. You may be thinking, well, I don't have access to those pieces of equipment, and that's totally fine. The reason I'm choosing these is you can easily do the exercises I'm about to show you without the jump rope or without the mini band. However, I would prefer that you have access to these. It's not absolutely necessary. So pay attention, we're gonna get into it right now. Here we go. Okay, so the first exercise we're doing here is really to address the first joint in the body, your ankle, specifically your arches and your calves, right? We gotta get those things warm and loose. And really the whole idea here is to create an increase in heart rate and body temperature. What happens is as you start moving, the most important part of warming up is getting the blood to the tissues. And when you come off of your chair or you come off the couch or having had your cup of coffee or whatever you were doing before your run, your blood is sitting in your stomach. Now your muscles at that point are dry, they're brittle, they're stiff, they're not perfused with blood and oxygen. So what we need to do is get the heart rate up with some light exercise, send the signal and kind of hit the switch for your body to actually send that blood from the stomach and the digestive organs and actually send it out to the periphery to the working muscles. At that point, the muscles become perfused with blood. They become more of like a wet sponge instead of a dry sponge, and the tissues are easily pliable and movable without any risk of strains or injuries. Okay, so the first movement we're doing with the jump rope, again, geared at addressing the arches, the ankles, the calves, and getting that heart rate up and getting the central nervous system turned on, is just your basic bilateral jump rope, 2 feet at a time. You're trying to keep that rope out to the side nice and still. You can see the elbows are tucked to the sides, and you're just doing these little hops, okay? This is the first movement pattern you're gonna do, and we're gonna do this for 60 seconds. We're aiming for about 3 minutes total, so with these 3 movement patterns, we're doing each one for a minute. Okay, there's the first one. The second one is gonna mimic more of a running style, but it's also gonna act as a dynamic stretch for your quads, and that's the butt kicker jump rope pattern. And all you're gonna do is you're gonna alternate feet. Sometimes it helps to start normal and then come right into one at a time. And what I'm trying to actually do here is kick my butt with my heel on each step. So staying light on the feet, trying to kick your butt, and that's gonna engage and activate your hamstrings while simultaneously lengthening out your quadriceps. And again, we're taking this movement pattern for 60 seconds. This will be your second minute. Good, at this point you should feel that you're breathing a little bit more rapidly, your heart rate's up, I know mine is, body temperature is coming up. Again, those are all part of the processes of your body making that change and getting that sympathetic nervous system firing. Okay, the next one's just a little bit different. It's going to be that alternated pattern, one foot to the other, but this time we're trying to engage the quads and the hip flexors, primarily rectus femoris and the psoas group. And so same thing, but this time we're doing high knees. And again, we're going to shoot for a minute here. So start normal. Once you get a pattern, now we're working on touching and lifting those knees out in front. Again, 60 seconds and finish it up. Good, now once you're done with that jump rope portion, your body's warm, it's loose, blood's flowing to the right areas. Now we're gonna move into the mini band work and try to get those hips turned on. So follow me over there. Okay, and like I said, for those of you without equipment, no problem. Don't use it as an excuse. Again, you can just pretend you have a jump rope in your hand. Think of it as an air rope and start with those movement patterns. Again, bilateral, 2 at a time, and then go into butt kickers and high knees. It's the same exact thing, and in fact, you're never gonna get caught up, so it's never gonna be a problem. You're never gonna have to break rhythm. Also, if you have trouble jump roping in general, you tend to get caught on your feet a lot, go to this variation. That way you can have that consistent movement to really get that heart rate up without having to stop. Okay, now we're moving into the mini band portion of the warm-up. And all you're gonna do is take your mini band, if you have one, put it through one leg, or put one leg through, put the other leg through, and now we're gonna kind of shimmy this up above the knee. You wanna kind of keep your thumbs on it, bring it up slowly so that it's not getting all twisted up. Okay, and then once you're in this position, or you've got that mini band situated, you're just gonna get into a quadruped position here on the floor. So hands and knees position, and we're really gonna try to attack the glutes and the hips on this one and get those firing for you. Again, we don't want to lengthen and loosen the muscles. We want to get them activated and engaged so they're strong for you on your run. So neutral spine, you're not going to arch and you're not going to round. You want to brace your abs so you've got a nice flat back, and we're going to start with hip circles. So the hip circles are just like they sound. You're just going to take one knee out and around in a nice slow, controlled circular pattern. Now the goal on this is not to race through them and get them done as quick as you can. You actually want to feel the muscles working, and what you're trying to feel are the hip extensors and the internal and external rotators working as we take that hip through circumduction, which is the same movement pattern that you're going to use out on your run. So we're going to go 15 clockwise. Now we're going to move counterclockwise, same exact thing, 15 reps, nice and slow and smooth, counterclockwise. By this point, you should start to feel a nice little burn in your hips and glutes. I know I am right now. And good, again, about 15 reps. The next movement that we're going to do here is just an external rotation of the hip. So I always think of kind of a dog on a fire hydrant. Sorry to be so crude, but it's just the best analogy I can come up with that people tend to get. And what you're doing here is just lifting the leg out and trying to rotate it open. So here, again, we're going to shoot for 15 reps. One thing that's really important to really focus on here is to make sure that your pelvis isn't rolling open. We don't want to twist the hips open. We just want to roll the leg open. So you keep that spine neutral and the pelvis nice and square to the ground. Good. Final movement that you're going to do, another 15 reps, straight into a straight leg kick back. So you just keep that back leg locked and just this small pulse. Very important that you don't let your lower back arch down to create relative hip extension here. We're trying to make the glute maximus here do all the work, and you should feel a nice squeeze through your glute maximus on this one. Again, 15 reps, you should be burning pretty good by this point. Good. And then we're going to repeat all three of those motions on the other side. Obviously, what we do to one side, we need to do to the other. Okay, and just a reminder, just like the jump rope portion, if you don't have the mini band, don't worry. I mean, I highly recommend you get one. They're inexpensive. You can find them anywhere. And it's going to add a whole nother dynamic and level of intensity to these exercises. But again, you don't need it. And you might think, well, what am I going to do for resistance? Don't forget, your leg isn't light. It's a heavy limb. You're going to be using the weight of the leg to provide resistance on these movements, regardless if you have a band or not. So make sure you don't take any excuses and get them done. Okay, so there you have it. Again, a better dynamic warm-up that's going to really improve the length-tension relationships of the musculature involved in your running stride. And to top it off, again, we're not destabilizing your joints or reducing your muscles' ability to produce force by doing the typical static stretching that you see so many people still doing. Again, it's kind of an old way of doing things that should have been dead long ago, but it still persists. Don't let yourself fall into that trap. Okay, you guys, we're taking off with this one, but we're going to be back with future videos addressing questions, concerns, or just typical issues that you're going to run into as a runner. And we're going to try to make sure that you stay as strong and healthy as possible. So tune in for the upcoming videos. We're going to try to cover something great, and we'll see you out on the roads.